that God has showed you you had the power and the ability within you, with His help, to become a person that you weren't when you were back in the nest. And I believe we bring great discredit to what God saved us to be, what God wants us to be, and what God is doing in our lives for us to be. If we go our lives and we never see the power of God to develop us. The Apostle Paul saw it. The Apostle Paul saw it and experienced it. And I'll tell you, one of his secrets was this. Because he told the church at Philippi this. He says, you know what? And this is my paraphrase, but it's in chapter 3. He says, I quit looking at all that stuff in the past. And by other scriptures, we know what he means. It's not, he didn't just quit looking at the things that were a credit to him, but he had to quit looking at the things that were a discredit to him. He had to quit looking at all the wrong he had done before he met Christ, as much as he had to quit looking at the good stuff that he had done before he met Christ. And he had to quit looking even at the good things that he had accomplished for Christ. He says, here's what I do. He says, I just let go of all that. Because he says, I keep looking to the future. I keep looking to the future. I've always been a guy I'm not as scared of heights as I used to be. When I was a kid, if I went and stayed with a friend who had a bunk bed, I was going to take the bottom bunk. Because no higher than the top bunk was, it scared me to death. I remember when I went to Empire State Building, 18 years old. At that time, highest building, I guess, in New York. And I remember I went up in the elevator, did okay, got out there on the observation deck, and thought, I don't know if I want to look over. Keep looking this way. And then I'd go, and you have to look down, you know. And I looked down, and I thought, oh my goodness, you know. So now that doesn't bother me so much, but you know, now I can get on the plane, I can look down if it's sunny and look down and see. Doesn't bother me. But you know, if you keep looking down, you keep looking back, you're never going to see what's ahead.
That's right.
And you're never going to become for the Lord what the Lord wants you to be and what the Lord is leading you to be. So Paul said, I forget everything. I'm just looking ahead. If you want to spiritually discover what God has infused in you for you to be, you got to leave the nest. You got to start stepping out, and you got to start letting God use you and become what you need to be. If you do not know Christ, let me tell you that you're on a false basis. Because if you do not know Christ, then there's nothing inside of you that's transforming. You don't have the ability, because it is Christ that transforms us. Remember, Paul said, the life which I now live, I don't live by my own faithfulness, but I live through the faith of the Son of God. And notice what he remembers, who loved me and gave himself for me. The reason why I am the man I am today, Paul said, is because Christ gave himself up on the cross for me. And the reason why I want to go forward and discover the man I can be is because I remember that Christ loved me and gave himself for me. That's why he found new direction and new experience and new heights in his life, because he never forgot that he was purchased by the blood of Christ. Know that, trust that, and then let that motivate you so that God as an eagle can cause you to experience the new heights, the new experiences that he has for you in your life. Let's stand and let every head be bowed.